Hi, my name is Margaret Ledford, and I am with Lyle Baskin, set designer for Gable Stage, resident set designer for Gable Stage. How are you today, Lyle?
I am absolutely fine, and I hope you are the same.
I am. Thank you so very much. Lyle, how did you get into scenic design? How did you get into theater?
Well, it started at an early age, like first grade, or actually before that, but in the first grade, I was on stage and as an actor, playing Father Time, and it just went from there. Uh, and I did a lot of stage work in elementary school and high school, so I got used to being in front of an audience, and then I discovered that the technical aspect and the design process was much more interesting to me than the being on stage process, or because the designing and creation of an environment for a play was very exciting. And I've always been an artist anyway, so that was able to put those things together. And I loved theater. I read plays constantly.
How many shows have you done for Gable Stage?
Okay, I knew you were going to ask that, and I don't have that answer, but it's probably around 50, 60.
Lyle, what is your favorite show that you've designed ever?
I knew you were going to ask it. Ever. That is a difficult question. I wrote down a whole bunch of shows. So let's start with Gable Stage. My favorite feeling, I feel like my favorite design there is probably Mothers and Sons, which was the most successful as far as the look and the way the show progressed, the actors, the whole production was just golden, I guess would be the word for it. Had a golden look too.
Why live theater? Why what is it about live theater that
What is it about live theater? It's live, just like we are today. We're live on tape, but theater is live, and you're in the room with it. So um, the effect of being in the room or in the theater with the actors, with the set, everything happening in real time, no net, is very exciting. And I've been in film and television and stuff, and it's just really different. I mean, there's nothing wrong with other media, but theater, that electricity, that sharing with the audience of that, you become one soul, one consciousness, hopefully, usually, not always, but generally the audience becomes one, and with the actors and the set and the lighting. And so that's very exciting. I mean, what's not to like? Except right now, it's hard for us to get together in large groups and enjoy something at the same time. But if we could, we would.
There was a set designer whose name escapes me right now. I believe he was a German set designer, kind of an expressionistic set designer back in the 20s, who believed that you didn't need actors on stage if your set design was good enough.
That is another inspiration I had, was the models of those expressionistic designers back in that period. And they had an exhibit in New York one time that I went to, or it might have been in Virginia, but it had their models. And that kind of experience for me was just thrilling, you know. And their sets were rich and just what is it? They just profound, I guess it is. You know, they were deep. They weren't packed with detail. They were just packed with emotion.
Almost operatic.
Yes, very operatic. And operatic sets, which I haven't done very many of, tend to be more emotional, just, I don't know, they just are deep, you know.
Yeah, they're the kind of that manifestation of the conflict in their creation, and their epic proportions even.
Yeah, epic proportions.
What do you think makes a good set design?
Okay, a good set design is an environment that I'm not going to say pleasing to the audience, but it brings the audience in. It's something you can look at for 2 hours, let's say, 2.5 hours, and not get fatigued. Because one of the things about theater is your eyes move around in this environment. And as the action, sometimes you might focus on not on the main thing that's happening, but something in the corner or another actor. That's why all the actors have to be on all the time. The set has to be on all the time. Everything's happening. So, and I like the set to have a muscular feeling that a strength, you know, not to be weak. And that is there's a lot of little details I feel like help to make that happen. But the audience has to feel secure that it's not going to fall down on them or the actors. I mean, that's a simple thing, but it can break the spell. Another thing about the set is you can have it be metaphorical, or it can just be environmental, or both. The set can have the mood of the play. You know, it can focus the mood or the emotion. You know, as we were talking with opera. Another thing about sets that I discovered years ago was that you can design. There's a lot of ways to design a set. You can design it. One good way is to design it with the peak moment of the play. If the play has one peak, catharsis or whatever, or let's say a defining moment.
Like that climactic moment.
Yeah, and that could be anywhere in the play. And some of them are stronger than others, you know, those climactic moments. But you can design from that moment back towards the beginning of the play or forward towards the end of the play. Like you design from the middle out in both directions, because you're seeing how everything is going to lead to that moment. And you want the set to be part of that moment. You know, you don't want it to be suddenly forgotten, although it could be. Some of those moments are not set oriented, but
when you communicate with the director, do you like them to be very specific, like I want the chair downstage left and I want this, that, and the other? Or do you like them to talk about it in terms of, I like the room to feel dangerous, I want the room to feel eerie?
Both of those things are good. It's not good to have a director that doesn't know what they want. That is very bad. Because you got a big vacuum there, and if they don't know what they want, they usually don't want you to tell them what they don't know what they want. So they want you to show them many things, and then they want to cherry pick, and that's time consuming and slow. But I've had that plenty of times, and I've had directors highly specific, and I don't really mind that, because it does make it a bit easier sometimes. But you can have conflicts with that, because the one thing you do as a designer is you're going to read the script and you're going to analyze it and come up with what you think it wants to be. And sometimes the director is in another world, you know, which is fine. But it's the best is if you can bring those two views together to some extent anyway.
Well, it's how you develop relationships, like, you know, for how many years with Gable Stage that
Yes.
when you find a good working relationship, a good vocabulary.
And that is not easy, but when you find a good relationship with a director, which I had with Joe, and I've had with a few other directors, Barbara Lowry, I had one with her, that is probably the key. It's the chemistry, you know, between you and the director is the beginning of a successful production.
And what is your favorite part of the process?
I like the initial design process where everything is wide open for the first, say, week until you get something down. Everything's wide open. And that can be really exciting, you know. And with Joe, it's always been back and forth for like 2 or 3 weeks. Sending in designs, change this, try this, maybe no, just throw that, do something different. I've seen that before, you know, and so on and so forth. And okay, so there's that process, and then there's the process of building, which in some sets in some scenarios I just draw plans and send them to a shop in a theater somewhere, and they build it. So then I have to be highly detailed on the plans. At Gables, I come down and build it, and that's to me more fun than sending it out. Harder in some ways, but because I like to create in 3D full size. It's better for me almost than drawing. And I love drawing too, but I can create with a saw or a paintbrush And that just feels, it makes me feel like I'm in there really, I don't know what it is. It's a powerful feeling to be building. The tech rehearsals, now that is the one thing I don't like is a tech rehearsal. Like photo call at Gable Stage. Photo call at Gable Stage is one of the peak moments, but it's also, it's a point where things start, it's the first point where things start coming together on his shows. And it's the first time that all these different elements and all the people that are involved in different parts start feeling like a cohesive family for a brief time, It's the first time that everybody, and especially the actors, start feeling like they've got a home for the next month or two, that they're somewhere besides in their heads, They can leave their heads and enter their world. Actually going to make things better for this set because suddenly all the technical stuff has a reason for being. And the way the actors interact with the set can be very exciting and happy time, But our actors are very good. I don't know, they're just great. They know how to use the space, use what's going on, the changes, because they know when the show opens, they're going to be right out there. The audience is going to be practically in their laps, literally and figuratively, and they love it. It's a big family. And that's what I want more than anything is for Gable Stage family to somehow, prevail.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time with me today.
It was so fun.